we all? I'm very well, thank you for asking. It's Friday night. It's 7 PM in the UK. It's 2 PM on the east coast of Americana land, which means, of course, it's 6 AM in the great, if somewhat authoritarian, as we learned a couple of weeks ago now, I think, nation of Fiji. Hello to the people of Fiji. Hang on, you may have noticed my new text box thing. That's okay. But I don't want the words going over my fucking face. Dickhead. Anyway. Yeah, I learned how to do a text thing. It's above me there on the screen, look. So it's not got a background to it. It looks amazing. You're very welcome. I've only been on YouTube for like 5 fucking years. I'm learning stuff. I'm getting there. You can't say I'm not trying. I am very trying. Anyway, first order of business, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be this little lad. He's actually lying behind me. I won't be waking him up though. It's been a stressful few days. Is the fucking text still going over the screen? Why is it doing that? It's supposed to fuck off up away from the thing. Go away. What are you doing? Why is it doing that? It doesn't need to be doing that. No, it appears not to be doing that anymore. Good. Okay. Apologies, everyone. It's new. It's new. Rory cats. Yes. This little... I mean, look at that little face, first and foremost. Absolute fucking ledge. Secondly, I mentioned last time I was on, and the last couple of times I've been on, that Rory cats, that little ginger lad you can see there, he's only short, but don't have a go. He had a little damage to his tail. He got caught in a door by the sounds of things, or by the looks of things. I had to take him to the vets. He's in the cone of shame, as you can see there. I'm having to give him 2 lots of painkillers a day, 2 lots of antibiotics a day. No, sorry, hang on. 1 lot of painkillers, 2 lots of antibiotics, and washing his tail with this. It's a thing in a bottle, and you onto a cotton sponge, and then you have to wipe his tail and then dry it off. He does not like that. Oh my god, does he not like that? But other than that, he's fine. Anyway, as you can, you may be able to tell, the fucking image is over it. There we go. He's trying to bully me to let him outside, even though he knows that the vet has told me he has to stay inside. That's true. He is housebound, at least for the next week. And, yeah, he's not enjoying that either. He's constantly squeaking and scratching at the back door to get out. You can't actually tell in this photo, but just around the back of there's that little cupboard there is where the cat flap is, so he has to sort of swerve round and then out. Yeah, so I had to lock the cat flap, obviously. Not that he could get to it, I don't think, with the cone on. I'm not sure. It'd be a squeeze for the lad. Anyway, he can't go out though, so he's constantly squeezing. He's basically terrorising me. I'm being terrorised. I'm being bullied, and I keep having to tell him, even though he knows. He knows. I don't want to keep him indoors. I'm not a monster. I've told him the vet's, and then he went, "What? Don't mention that fucking name in front of me." You don't like going to the vets. He tries to dig out of the. You put him in the cage and he tries to dig his way out, even though he's been in that cage a dozen times now. He knows. He knows you can't get out. But bless him, he tries. Again, he's very trying. It's a trait in this house. Anyway. Well, his lady admirers don't admire him for his maleness, because that was snipped a long time ago. Anyway. But he is gorgeous. I mean, look at that. How do I say no to that little face? That's the worst thing. Saying no to that face. Outrageous. Anyway. So that's the update on the Rory Cats. If you didn't get in early, you don't get the Rory Cats update, or you'll have to watch back, or you could just say, well, I don't even know this person or this cat, so why would I care? In which case you're a monster. Anyway, it was also this week the winners of the Nobel Prize, the plural, were announced, and I can't help but feel slighted that I was once again overlooked for the Nobel Prize of Physics. Now, people might say, Kev, you haven't done any physics since high school. Literally, you have no fucking right to win that award whatsoever. You don't know the first thing about physics, you fucking huckster. And whilst that might be technically true, anyone can do fucking physics in like a lab and shit and do like experiments and stuff. I do physics of the mind. Do I get any credit for it? Do I? Fuck. Outrageous. And while we're on the topic, another award that I'm eminently qualified for, but won't be receiving this year. Fattest bear. Obviously, I'm the fattest bear. And yet this fucking twat wins it. Dickhead. Bear 747, named after the Boeing 747. I mean, that's a harsh review. Jumbo Jet, because he's so big, has been crowned the fattest bear of the year. Undeservedly. It should say undeservedly. Don't worry, it's not a bad title to have. Supersized 747 is one of over 2,200 brown bears, why is his race important? Which live in Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve in the United States. Each year, park rangers run the Fat Bear Week competition, which I'm sure gets some confused tourists, that's all I'm saying. People get to go to vote online for the fattest bear, and it's all about celebrating how big they've got as they get ready to hibernate this winter. And trust me, I winter well. Anyway, so that was a silly one. Now, another absolutely ridiculous thing. Do you remember Boaty McBoatface? The story of the what is now called the HMS David Attenborough. It's an Arctic or Antarctic, I think, research vessel. And the British public were asked what they wanted the boat to be called, right? And they had free range. They could choose any name, and the most popular name would get voted on, or popular names would get voted on and win. And loads of people came up with really sensible ones, like the one they actually went with, which was HMS David Attenborough. HMS means Her Majesty's Ship, although when it's a dude, because again, they do the gender binary. Oh god, I mean they're about 1,000 years behind culturally, so you know. To ask them to catch up to, you know, the idea of non-binary peeps or whatever is over-optimistic, I would suggest. But maybe they'll get there eventually. Anyway, so when it's a man, it's His Majesty's Ship and then whatever. Anyway, so HMS, and then David Attenborough is obviously the famous science broadcaster chap who somehow is still alive. Him and Jimmy Carter, I think, might actually outlive all of us. It'll just be them and the cockroaches left after the nuclear war. Anyway, when the nuclear war that will definitely happen when Donald Trump calls for a 10th recount in Broward County. Fucking hell. Anyway, so and one of the suggestions was Boaty McBoatface, and that's what eventually won. And they didn't name it that, which shows you democracy doesn't work. And when the vote goes the wrong way, the British will just ignore any democratic result, even from its own people. Anyway, but on good news, in a more Boaty McBoatface way, part of it is named Boaty McBoatface, by the way. On the main ship, there is a 2-person submarine, which is for like if there are bits of inland coastal area that the big ship can't get to because it's too big, they take the little submarine. That submarine is called Boaty McBoatface. So it's named twice, and it's a boat on a boat. So twice. It's half the boat, twice the meme. Anyway, if that whole nonsense of Boaty McBoatface shows us anything, it's that the British public like 2 things. 1, trolling, and 2, silly as fuck names. And just such another example of that came true over the course of the last couple of days. Now this actually links to both COVID and America, which we'll get to in a second. Because, right, the letter itself, there was a letter sent called, what was it called? The Great Barrington Declaration. Great Barrington being a town in America, apparently, where this thing was signed. So American anti-science dipshittery is fucking over the healthcare systems and governing systems and public policy systems of other countries. Thanks, America. Super awesome and great. But the British found a way of, A, exposing what a bunch of charlatan pricks they are, because these motherfuckers are the, end the lockdown, the poor must sacrifice themselves so the rich can get slightly richer. Those fucking people. Idiots. And just like with coronavirus, Britain is not immune to such fucking idiocy. And so it's garnered some amount of traction. Not a huge amount. Most people see this as fucking idiots being idiots, which is exactly what it is, of course. But yeah, it has taken on some life of its own in Britain. But the British public found a way of trolling them and ultimately finding a way to add silly names to it. So I'll read to you. A widely circulated open letter calling on governments to pursue herd immunity, that's the poor people having to sacrifice themselves to the Rona gods in order to make sure that the rich keep getting richer. Just, that's what they are. Let's call it what it is. Anyway, a herd immunity is counting homeopaths, therapists, and fake names amongst its medical signatories, leading to accusations that it falsely represents scientific support for the controversial position. Controversial position, doing a lot of lifting there, that phrase. The Great Barrington Declaration, a letter organised by prominent advocates of herd immunity, claims to have been signed by more than 15,000 scientists. That sounds impressive. It isn't. And medical practitioners, as well as more than 150,000 members of the general public. I will bear in mind, 17 point whatever million people voted for Brexit. 150,000 British people can be convinced to sign anything. Their own death warrant, probably. Fucking idiots. Anyway, now comes the relatively funny bit. Yet Sky News found dozens of fake names on the list of medical signatories, which anyone can add to if they tick a box and enter a name. That's very rigorous, isn't it? You can literally just do whatever you want. They're hucksters. They're complete frauds. Anyway. So people did, and they trolled them like fuck. These included Dr. I.P. Freely, nice 90s callback, Dr. Person Fake Name, and my own personal favourite here, and Dr. Johnny Bananas. Dr. Johnny Bananas. Just let that name drink in there. Dr. Johnny Bananas, who listed himself as, quote, Doctor of Hard Sums, end quote. Oh, good lord. Good lord. Then it gets dark. One medical professional on the list gives his name as Dr. Harold Shipman. Oh no. Now I have to explain who Harold Shipman was. Right. Oh god. For those who don't know, maybe you live outside the UK or whatever and you're not aware of that name, that's a piece of very, very dark humour, okay? Dr. Harold Shipman was a real person and was a real doctor. But he was also a real mass murderer. He'd go around killing his elderly patients, giving them like lethal doses of things. For a number of years, and eventually he was caught and imprisoned. And I think did he top himself? I think when he was inside. Yeah. So that's a very dark piece of fake doctoring, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Oh, that way. Actually, I should have just read on. A GP called Harold Shipman killed more than 200 Jesus of his patients before he was arrested in 1998. Was it as far back as that? God, time flies. You can never remember when mass murderings happen, can you? Another famous name was Dominic Cummings, who was described as PhD Durham University. Nice. And whilst that's sort of funny or whatever, right? Sky News also found 18 self-declared homeopaths listed on the open letter as medical practitioners, despite the fact that homeopathy has no scientific underpinning or clinical evidence to support its use. In addition, the letter was signed by well over 100 therapists, including massage therapists, hypnotherapists, psychotherapists, and one Mongolian kumi singer who describes himself as, quote, therapeutic sound practitioner, end quote. A therapeutic sound practitioner. Yeah. Thanks, America. You've done us proud. You are trying to kill us. In addition to trying to kill yourselves with the coronavirus, you're trying to impose that bullshit on the rest of us. Super job. Thanks. Anyway. I thought I'd bring that to you. There you go. Harold Shipman was a prolific cunt. That is one absolutely perfect description of the man. Well, not perfect, but accurate. Yeah, I think he did hang himself. You've not taken the funny angle of that, have you? Oh, hang on. We've got an awake cat. I repeat, we have an awake cat. Come on, Rory cats. Earn your fucking pay, dickhead. There he is. Look at that. He's just woken up. Oh, you poor baby kit. What's going on? Oh. Now I have to let him out. Go on in. Go on. There we go. I don't really have to have the door closed, but it's better for acoustics, I find. Probably would just be easier to just let it open, but whatever. Oh, shitting ballsack. Rory Cats in the chat, you are not the real Rory Cats. Fuck you. You're a person pretending to be a cat. Anyway, what was I doing? I'm trying to do a show here, aren't I? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm fucking failing though, eh? Anyway, so from Harold Shipman to another mental case with grey hair, Mike Pence. He is an awful person. I think we can all agree on that. But he also took part in the vice presidential debate-a-reno on Wednesday, which people may have watched both on my YouTube, which you can't be watched back because it's got copyrighted content and it's been blocked worldwide. Super job, YouTube. But you can still watch it on my Twitch. I did a watch-along and all the rest of it. And one of the things to come out of it was a fly. Not something, not 90s slang for something awesome, like that's fly. Literally a fly. As you can see on the screen there, I've done an amusing meme of a fly that's Antifa. It's one of the jokes I'll be doing. Anyway, he along with vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris took part in a debate. It was largely shit. I think Kamala basically won it, did pretty damn well. Mike Pence acted like a petulant little bitch, which again is very, very on brand for a Trump lackey, I suppose. One's pets often begin to act like their owners, don't they? Rory, for instance, is a hairy twat, so, you know. And Mike Pence is a pathetic piece of shit, much like his owner, Donald Trump. Now, the fly really was the only interesting, vaguely rememberable, or even just memorable pieces from the debate. I'm just going to show you my reaction to it because I was quite proud looking back. I noticed the fly pretty early. I was on top of that shit, much like that fly was on top of Mike Pence's head. I mean, you can listen to what they're saying during this bit if you want to, but basically I'm going to play you talking about meta, getting meta with it. I'm watching myself watching a thing now. That's what we're going to be doing. Oh, hang on. There it is. It just landed.
Who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day? And President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable
especially if you're killing black people.
That when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform
out of context,
bill,
that doesn't sound good.
Brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats. Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room, and then you filibustered Senator Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American neighbors and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership, we will always stand with law enforcement and will do what we've done from day one, and improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice President.
Record unemployment, record investments in education, and we'll fight for school of choice for all of our members.
Thank you, Vice President.
I'd like to it's a wig.
Senator Harris.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to
still there.
I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans. And the reality of this is that
Exactly.
we are
He's
talking
talking
about
so
an
much shit,
election
he's
in
attracting
27
flies.
days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Drinking Coke straight from the
Indeed he
bottle.
did.
What a
And-
tramp.
It wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when
Is
pressed,
the fly dead?
stand back.
Is he so cancerous
Stand
he's
by.
transmitted cancer to the fly
And
via his hair
this is a
follicles?
part of a pattern of Donald Trump's.
I can't get away.
He
There it
he
goes.
called
It's off.
Mexicans
Fucking hell.
rapists and
That was
criminals.
the highlight.
He instituted
was
as
the
his
star.
first act a
Show.
Muslim ban. He, on the issue of
So anyway, that was that. That's what Flygate was, okay? Now, before we get into the serious stuff, and there is a serious point that I'm going to be trying to make here. I just want to say, as the CEO of Antifa, I just want to thank our Air Force division for their incredible ingenuity. I'm not going to say what that flight did and the sacrifice it made. All I'll say is, if Mike Pence tests positive for coronavirus in the next few days, we will owe so much to so winged few. Is all I'll say, okay? I'll leave it there. No more. Now, there is a genuine point here. And I've no idea if metaphysics is actually the right phrase for this. But the kind of social metaphysics, if you will, of not just Flygate itself, but the reaction to Flygate. Because a lot of people, and this is a tendency. I'm not going to name any names because I'm not interested in doing fucking leftist drama stuff anymore. I'm more about leftist unity, but to a degree. Fuck tankies. Anyway. No, well, yeah. It's difficult. Lots of tankies are awful. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, there are. In the immediate aftermath, we had some real fun with it, right? There were several people who started Pence fly accounts on Twitter and stuff, and I looked at them during the course of the last section of the debate, because frankly, once the fly had happened and gone off, it was after the Lord Mayor's show. No one was interested in what these two pricks had to say. It was all about the fly, okay? So, and there were some great ones. Some of the memes were fucking brilliant. One of them was like, it had the image of it, and then, oh look, Mum, I'm on TV, from the Mike Pence fly account and stuff. One was was it the fly is Mike Pence's only black friend? Another absolute beauty, right? So yeah, there were some really good ones. It even, I think, was quite a nice reactive piece of electioneering campaigning from the Twitter account of Joe Biden. It had a picture of him with a fly swat. Now, I've no idea when that was taken. That could have been years old. I have no idea. But they also very quickly had a fly swat you could buy, like on their campaign site, which had like, was it truth over flies or something, like truth over lies, right? Which I think is quite a good piece of like silly campaign fluff. It's not the hard realpolitik stuff you have to do, obviously, but it's kind of a nice meme, kind of quite a modern piece of campaigning, an oddly modern piece of campaigning for such an old man. Not that he's necessarily running it all, but you know what I mean. He would still have to like kind of okay some of that sort of thing, wouldn't he? Anyway, so I thought there was some very, very funny bits in there. And then the reaction to it, there were a number of reactions, some of which were good, some of which not so much. There were some people who went overboard, and this is the thing. I understand the kind of the two large camps of anti-Flygate. That's such a weird phrase. The people who basically thought that we shouldn't be talking about the fly thing fell into two camps, right? One was we should be talking about serious stuff, and the other was this is cringe. Right, and I understand to a degree the second response, because once you start getting kind of boomer liberal accounts doing the joke, that's kind of usually the sign that a meme is dead. But that happened basically straight away. Which I think shows that it does cut through to a more mainstream audience. And I think this is a place that the left needs to get to. Rather than trying to be the cool kids, we need to actually run with things that work. And I think this is a thing that people on the left need to try and begin to prioritise, because there are a number of reasons why both of the main camps of anti-reaction, anti-Flygate reaction that I outlined there, one, the let's talk about serious stuff, and two, cringe, they're both wrong in a number of ways. Firstly, they're both wrong because actually just let people have some fucking fun. Like, don't be killjoys about it. The fact that people you think are cringe are enjoying a thing, well, those people vote. Those people are more mainstream than you and I on the internet left. And trying to be cool kids about it just alienates you, basically. So don't do that. And especially don't do that. The coronavirus has made life quite shit for a number of people. And if they get a moment of levity in an otherwise stressful situation, which it basically is, because I mean it's a stressful situation in general, because there are people who are struggling financially and all the rest of it, and they're watching their democracy be taken apart by fucking trash like Mike Pence. The fact that you can get a little bit of your own back via, oh, the fly landed on his head, the fly did a shit on his head, jokes, that's fine. People have a need for release, and that's fine to allow them to have. You don't have to sort of lord it over them. This is the point. It's with both of those reactions, it's essentially, it is kind of virtue signalling. It's saying, I'm better than you. Either I'm more serious a politician than you, or I'm one of the cool kids and you're not. Which is pretty, ironically, cringe, really. So please don't do that, okay? Secondly, with the reaction, well, actually with both reactions, different approaches work in different situations, okay? With the let's talk about serious politics, the fly doesn't matter crowd, being silly doesn't prevent you from doing the serious stuff as well. You can still talk about tax policy and foreign policy and healthcare provision and police reform and all of that, and do silly fly memes. If all a person does is silly fly memes, you'd have a point. But doing fly memes does not preclude you from doing not fly memes. From doing, you know, actual serious, on the ground political campaigning, or just, even if you're just part of the national conversation, being involved in the national conversation in a serious way about serious topics. And in terms of being cringe doesn't prevent you from also doing not cringe things as well. So even if the liberal boomer people are doing a thing as well, they can also do some really useful shit too. Because again, they are a much larger part of the society than you or I on the internet left. So just shitting on them as if we're the cool kids and they're not, doesn't get us anywhere. It's just alienating and dumb. Look, if all you want to do is feel cool, go for it. If you actually want to affect change, I would ask you to reappraise your approach to it for what it's worth. And again, I'm not going to name any names because that just causes needless drama and would go against the whole point of why I'm trying to say this, really. And kind of a last point on this, I suppose, would be, look at the success the right have had with their stupid fucking memes over the last few years. Look at the way in which they rode the kind of Pepe/Kekistan bullshit into the ground, okay? They milked that for all it was worth. And whilst people who still do that, there are still some vestiges of that around, are fucking tragic individuals, okay? You've got to know when it's definitely dead. They got the most out of it, right? It was cringe as fuck, but it worked. It cut through to a layer of society that your more high-minded, let's talk about Marx memes won't. And I think the fly thing will to an extent as well. And again, it will cut through to some people and not others. But that's the point. Different approaches. Different strokes for different folks, so to speak. Horses for courses. That's fine, okay? Look at what the right have done well and see if we can adopt some of that. Now again, I don't say that in the sense that look at them being successful doing racism. I mean like tactics rather than policy. Okay, policy, I've got no fucking time for them. Fuck them. But they've been successful. They're, in a purely Machiavellian sense, enormously successful. What can we look at from their approach and try and adopt for ourselves? And definitely in terms of the culture. Well, the culture war isn't really a thing, by the way. It's a nonsense. It's the to and fro of society. That's how it's always operated and always will. But whatever the culture war is, however you describe that, we have not done well in that regard in the last couple of years. And I think the reactions to the fly on his fucking head thing, as silly a thing as that might seem, shows us sort of why. Is that we don't even participate in the fight. We don't even want to participate in the fight for either one of those two reasons, right? Either seeming frivolous and unserious, which is ludicrous because it's, again, that's not the totality of what you are, or by seeming not cool, because again, everyone's going to seem not cool at times. Everyone's going to do slightly cringy things at times. But if you want to affect change, look, especially if you want to allow, if you want to do revolutionary change, if you can't even put up with looking a bit cringe, how the fuck are you going to do a revolution exactly? Please do tell me that. Because that's ridiculous. If you haven't even got the backbone for seeming a bit uncool from time to time, I don't know how you're going to do when the fascists are literally shooting at you. Call me crazy. So I think we need to look at what the right have done successfully and see if there are any of those tactics we might be able to steal off them, frankly. And I think engaging in silly memes, which might at first seem frivolous, but actually have a more potentially positive, useful underlying purpose, might be a way of entering that discussion. Because if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win. But if you actively say, I'm not buying the lottery ticket, fuck the lottery's cringe, or the lottery isn't serious, you're stopping yourself. You're stopping yourself dead in your tracks. So, let's be better. Let's do better. Let's take the piss out of Mike Pence. Because at the very least, it's fun. And he's garbage, so, whilst you still have freedom of speech, sort of, America, use it. But maybe not in the way that, old Johnny Bananas was doing. Well, actually, no, the person behind Johnny Bananas is one. The people behind the letter can fuck themselves. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Just a thought about a funny thing and an unfunny reaction that I've sucked the life out of. You're very welcome. What did we all think of that? By the way, did anyone give a fuck? Was it boring as shit? I don't know. Comparing insects to... No, you're not comparing insects to black people. It's literally just noting the fact that black and black. Like, if you compare a shaved cat to a white person, are you demeaning white people? Like, it's not... You're not literally saying they're like insects. And by the way, I'm not entirely sure. Is it an insect? Because isn't insect a specific thing? Or is that bug? I'm getting confused with. Anyway... It's playing on the idea of having like the black friend, because black people aren't actually black, are they? They're brown, whereas the fly actually is black. It's literally just a play on the name, the colour word. It's got nothing to do with the race of actual human beings. Your hair looks very spiffy tonight. Does it? What does my hair look like? I've no idea. Anyway, we need another George Carlin. We need several. Stop being distracted by the hair, you fucking people. They have 6 legs and have 3 body segments. Is that the definition of an insect? Okay. Okay, fair enough. Anyway. So, hang on, 1 second. Oh, thank fuck that was dry. I don't have a tissue. Anyway, yes. So on to Donald Trump being mental, and he is unbelievably mental. COVID alert. COVID, I don't think COVID isn't sneezing, is it? It's not literally like having the flu, as far as I'm aware. Oh, yeah. Right. So Donald Trump being a mentaloid. I need to shrink this box down, don't I? Can I actually do that? There we go. There we go. So we can actually read the thing. I could just move that over there. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so the levels of copium that Donald Trump is taking right now, he could seriously overdose. It's phenomenal. He put out this statement, right? Now, almost instantly, the fact that he's backed out of having a virtual debate, right? Because he basically wants to go up to Joe Biden and cough right in his face, I think is the plan. No one trusts that Donald Trump is actually fit to do anything, even though apparently he's going to have a medical examination live on Fox News on Friday, because he literally hasn't stopped being a reality star. He's at no point become an actual fucking president. But no one trusts the fucking word he says. So Joe Biden and the Electoral Debate Commission, Presidential Debate Commission, said that they were going to have essentially a Zoom debate, right, where they weren't actually going to be in the room, they were going to be up on screens, right? I think that would be a sensible precaution. But Trump, for some reason, said no, he wasn't going to waste his time on that. Not sure what that means. But then said he was going to have a rally where he would be doing it virtually. So he's okay to do a rally virtually, but not a debate. I think he might be absolutely shitting himself because he knows how badly that first debate went. Anyway, and you can tell that because he's some of the phrases here are phenomenal. The Trump campaign statement on unilateral decision of the Commission on Presidential Debates. President Trump won the first debate despite a terrible and biased moderator in Chris Wallace, and everyone knows it. It genuinely is North Korea-esque. Fucking hero worship bullshit. Undeserved hero worship as well. Absolute fucking crazy, psychotic otherworldliness. Like, no basis in reality. First off, how do you win a debate exactly? How is there some sort of definition of that? Also, a biased moderator, he was trying to get you to shut the fuck up. And everyone knows it. No, they don't. Look at the polling. You actually didn't win that debate. For the swamp creatures, which sounds amazing, but I think he just means like journalists or whatever, at the Presidential Debate Commission, to now rush to Joe Biden's defence by unilaterally cancelling an in-person debate is pathetic. But you've universally cancelled the virtual one. Why is that? Unless you want to go around spitting in the faces of everyone so that you could give them COVID, what difference does it make if you're in the room or not? Jesus Christ. He's basically a complete coward, is the point, you know. That's not what debates are about, or how they're done. Well, actually, before television was a more wide-scale thing, people listened to it on the radio. So in the past, they had even less by way of visuals than they would have had via Zoom. So, anyway, here are the facts. President Trump will have posted multiple negative tests prior to the debate. Absolutely no way they can say that. No possible way they can say that. They're saying that already because that's what they're going to announce, whether it's true or not. Which again tells you that Joe Biden is right to say, actually, I don't fucking trust these cunts at all. He hasn't said those words exactly, but basically. So there is no need for this unilateral declaration. The safety of all involved can easily be achieved without cancelling a chance for voters to see both candidates go head-to-head, which they still would. They'd still see them go head-to-head. We'll pass on this sad excuse to bail out Joe Biden and do a rally instead. So basically, You shit yourself, Donald. You shit yourself and you're running away. It's so pathetic. And like I say, the levels of cope going on are phenomenal. We won the first debate. Jesus. America, please. Even if it's another right-wing cunt, which it's Joe Biden, it will be. Christy won't like that. Anyway, she won't like that joke at all. Even if you elect right-wing cunts, can you at least have people who aren't children? For the love of God. I mean, I won the first debate. I'm brilliant. Chris Wallace was mean to me. It's so fucking tiring listening to this twat. Oh, God. But his mind is definitely going, right? There's no fucking doubt in my head that that's true. Nancy Pelosi's been trolling him by saying she's going to put together a commission for the... Hang on a minute. And I can get rid of that, can't I? For, to see... about what... Is it the 25th Amendment? The one where if they're mentally incapacitated, you can get rid of them. Which I think is mainly trolling, because there's no way that's going to become law. But it's still quite funny. And also is sort of true, because Trump has gone fucking weird. Look, he's always been mental, but he's just gone a little bit weird. Some of the things he says, like, it goes beyond just soup, like bags of soup and stuff, to really weird... I don't even know, it's like nonsense poetry at times. I don't even know what to say.
There has been articles out, and I would assume that Joe...
Also, can I just point out that professional journalist just said there has been articles out. Well done, Sean Hannity, you illiterate prat.
Biden and Kamala Harris not giving their position on court packing would be a national ad. I assume them both on record saying they would ban fracking would be an ad that would run in a lot of cycles in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Their website that endorses the Green New Deal, and Joe Biden saying he would spend trillions of dollars on it and pledging that. What would the new Green Deal...
Sean, can you take his cock out your mouth for a minute, mate? I think that would be good. I think it would be positive for you and people seeing you as a journalist if you actually asked him a question rather than just did his sales pitch for him.
Look like, in your view, if implemented as promised by both Joe Biden and as a co-sponsor with Kamala Harris in the U.S. Senate?
Kamala
Hussein conceived of by not smart people, AOC plus 3 and others.
I love that. In accusing someone else of not being smart, he says, by not smart people. You can't parody that. Like, I literally did the joke earlier about, drinking straight from the bottle, what a dickhead or whatever, and then drank from the bottle. That's a joke, because I'm obviously lampooning myself there. But he said that seriously, in a political interview. He did the same thing about himself. Seriously. I don't know what to do with that. His mind has gone. Was it ever there? I don't know. But it's certainly not there now.
Any experience in the environment. But this was a deal conceived of. And the real price is $100 trillion. That's more money that this country could make in 100 years if things went well.
I like the fact he just plucks things out. And you can tell when he's just plucking nonsense. That's more money than this country could make in 100 years. There's no way any fucking research has gone into that. Absolute nonsense.
Well, okay. I mean, they literally want to take buildings down and rebuild them with tiny little windows, okay? Little windows so you can't see out, so you can't see the light.
What a fucking lunatic. They want to knock down buildings and build them with tiny... What? Yeah, they're going to convert America into a dollhouse nation. What on earth? What fucking fantastical realm. No, I mean, the roid fucking high he's on at the minute must be amazing. He's tripping fucking balls. He's going to make the windows really tiny and the fish are going to be massive. More on fish in a second.
And the whole thing is so crazy. It's such a crazy thing.
Yeah, so crazy, that's not what they're planning. It's really crazy. That's why they're not planning to do that, Donald.
And take a look. And
first off, why would you need to tear down the building if you wanted to just make the windows small? You could just knock the window out, build it there, and then implant a smaller window. You wouldn't need to tear the whole building. Oh, why am I trying to rationalise his nonsense? It's gibberish.
Biden agreed to this with Crazy Bernie because
Crazy
they have
Bernie.
the manifesto. They've agreed to most of these things. And it's going to cost more money. Our country will be a ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country. We won't have
A ninth world country. That's a thing. That's a thing. Definitely ninth world country. Pluck numbers out of your ass. Who cares? Fucking hell.
energies. Look at what's happening with the rolling blackouts in California. Look at where California is going to have to ration water. You know why? Because they send millions of gallons of water out to sea, out to the Pacific, because they want to take care of certain little tiny fish that aren't doing very well without water, to be honest with you. But it.
I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. They want to take care of certain little tiny fish that aren't doing very well without water. What on the fucking earth are you talking about, you fucking imbecile? You senile old cunt. What are you talking about? Does he think the Pacific is, like, dry? I mean, the fish... I mean, to be fair, in that condition, the fish wouldn't do well without water. What the fuck does he think oceanography is? What does he think is happening there? Also, water's supposed to go to the sea. That's how, like, water cycles work. Hydro cycles, whatever the fuck it's called. That's how it works. It's not like they're giving water to the sea. It ends up in the fucking sea, flows through rivers into seas. What? Oh. God, please elect someone with like a double-digit IQ at least. America, please, for the love of God. Even if Joe Biden's brain gives way to fucking Alzheimer's in the next couple of fucking days, he will still have a higher IQ than this dumb shit. Please, for the love of God. The tiny little tiny fish. What does he mean? What does any of that mean? Yeah, Monty Python. Yeah, oh God. Where did that fishy go? But he didn't stop there. Oh no. His craziness just continued. I mean, if you want to go and watch this entire interview, it's a cavalcade of nonsense. But he also had this bit. I'm not entirely sure what he even means by this, but this is amazing. Talking about Churchill for no fucking reason. It's just an absolute fucking gem of a thing to say. I don't even know what he means.
Winston Churchill was prime minister. He would stand on the top of buildings as Hitler was dropping bombs on London. You know that. You've heard that. And he'd make speeches and put his fist up in the air and say, "How dare you," the mad dog, he called him. And, I can't stay in a basement. I can't stay in a basement. And he can.
I hope that last "and he can" is about Joe Biden rather than strictly Winston Churchill, because that would suggest he thinks he's alive, which would be quite something. Although that would be less incorrect than the fact that he thinks that fucking Frederick Douglass would be alive, because at least Winston Churchill was alive within living memory, so to speak. Like, there are people alive now who knew him, whereas Frederick Douglass is very, very dead. But what is he talking about? So Churchill was in a bunker because there were bombs dropping on them. He can't stay in a basement. I don't even know where to fucking go with that. I don't know where to go with that. Honest to God, he's insane. He's genuine. I think there is a case for getting rid of him on the 25th Amendment. It won't happen because the Republicans have basically decided, yeah, if he did go onto Fifth Avenue and shoot someone dead, we would still support him. Anyway, he's fucking insane. I don't know how else to put it. He's absolutely gone. Fucking crazy. But then again, it always takes a turn for the worse. Like, that's vaguely humorous, albeit very dangerous, but still sort of funny. This isn't. Now, this is related...
Disavowing David Duke.
Hang on. This is related to a story which I don't even know if I'm allowed to discuss on Twitch, frankly, but we'll give it a go. Over the course of the last couple of days, a plot was exposed and people were arrested and indicted and all the rest of it. 6 so far, I believe, is the number. Or 8, one of them. Anyway, people, right-wing fucking lunatics, were going to attempt to kidnap, possibly execute, Gretchen Whitmer, who, for those who don't know, is the governor of the state of Michigan in America, and had become very much the centre of Donald Trump's 2 minutes of hate, and the right wing's 2 minutes of hate around COVID shutdowns. We might remember that it was in that state that do you remember when armed nutcases went into the state building and like basically occupied it? That was there, and all of the right wing hacks, all of them, have consistently gone after her and made her the target of hate. And, unsurprisingly, because this continues to happen, the groups they go after end up having right-wing terrorist attacks against those groups, or in this case, individual. Now, thankfully it was foiled, but Trump decided to victim blame a person who had a terrorist plot against her directed by his stochastic terrorism. Yeah. Let's take a listen.
Duke, and yet they continue to spread that falsehood. Your reaction...
It's not a falsehood, by the way, Sean. You're a liar. He literally didn't want to condemn the Proud Boys, so fuck you.
Because they don't seem to get called out by the media on the fact that what they are saying is false.
And I condemn the people on the left, like Antifa, that are burning down your cities all summer long, okay? And without any control whatsoever. They're all...
As the CEO, Don, come get me, motherfucker. What are you going to do? Illegally render me and put me in an orange boiler suit in Guantanamo Bay? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. I'm in trouble, man.
Biden people, meaning not Biden. Biden's not smart enough to know what the hell it even is, but they're of that philosophy.
What philosophy?
And I condemn them.
What philosophy, Don? What philosophy are you talking about, mate?
Very strongly, very, very strongly. It's not just the right, it's the left. But the left has been the problem.
It's the right, it's the left. Is he doing a fucking dance routine now?
Oh, for a long time, Antifa is a big, big problem.
Antifa!
And, I see Whitmer today, she's complaining, but it was our Justice Department that arrested the people that she was complaining about. It was my
Justice Department. Firstly, you don't get thanks for doing your job. You get paid for doing your job. It's the very least they could do was to foil the plot that your supporters were doing, Donald. And also, it wasn't just people they were complaining about. These were terrorists who were going to abduct her. You fucking lunatic. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my God. He's just appalling. What a wanker. What an absolute piece of shit, man. Anyway, that leads us in, unfortunately, to oh God, Tim Tool. His latest lie, because he always has to lie and grift and protect the right at all costs. That's his entire shtick, right? His latest lie. This was his thing from 16 hours ago. I'm not going to play any of it because fuck him. But that's the title was Anarchist Group Arrested for Plotting to Kidnap Michigan Governor. Anarchist Group. They weren't anarchists at all, in any respect whatsoever. We'll get into it. Okay. Not only were they not anarchists, unsurprisingly, given that Tim Tool has been one of the people doing the stochastic terrorism against Gretchen Whitmer, so they were Tim Tool fans. This was from Josh Russell, did some investigating. One of the people involved was this guy, who was a fan of Kyle Rittenhouse and a fan of Donald Trump, unsurprisingly. Was also a fan a fan of Tim Pool. Interesting. Unless Tim Pool thinks that he somehow is getting anarchists to listen to him, because I can assure you that isn't true. And this is a sampling of this individual. I won't mention their name, although it's been on screen, but I'm not going to give them that. Of their YouTube subscriptions. Way of the World, right wing fuck. Military Arms channel, that's worrying. Where else? What else have we got? Terence Pup, right wing fucking hack piece of shit MRA. Pardon me. Project Veritas, The Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. Oh, he's got form though, hasn't he, Ben? He's inspired several terrorist attacks. Millennial Millie, who's used to work for InfoWars. Computing Forever. What a surprise. I know, mad. What else we got? Vice. Grim. Joe Rogan. Cal Surprise. Ben Shapiro. Ooh. Yeah, so that's a little taste for you there. But he's also a Tim Pool fan, you know? Positive tweeting out of links of Tim Pool. So again, he wants to smear them because he wants to cover his own arse, because Tim Pool is partly guilty for this plot, this domestic terrorist plot. And we can scroll down here. Animal Hunting Club. Fascist book working hard to protect children who abuse... Hang on, what's this? See, MAGA. See, this is one of the people involved. Trump fan. Very strong Trump fan. See? Massive Trump fan. This is why they're trying to smear them. It's ridiculous. Where are we? One of them did have an anarchist A thing behind them, but clearly they were coming at it from the perspective of like an ANCAP. Clearly, because they also had weird other like libertarian like flags and stuff around. So they were under the ridiculous assumption that ANCAPs were actually anarchists. But they weren't actually anarchists, any of them, in any respect whatsoever. They were right-wing fuckeries. Right-wing pieces of dog shit. Who, like I say, Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, all of these people who've consistently attacked Gretchen Whitmer, they are all partly to blame for this terrorist attack. Or this attempted, plotted, planned terrorist attack. And their lies need to be fucking outed. I don't know how Tim Pool is still allowed on YouTube, given the consistent downplaying of far-right terrorism he does. It's the misinformation is incredible. The internet can be brilliant, but ultimately, I mean, look at this. It isn't, you know. Anyway, so yeah, so there's that. Right, this is the next thing, which is going to be the final thing I'm going to do for today. But it is a video we're going to be watching. And it's only like a 9-minute video, but that'll take about 2 hours to get through because it's annoying.
It's time to throw away that dirty old dollar store.
Shut up. Anyway. Karolyn Borisenko is a phenomenally dishonest individual. We've talked about her before, and this is connected, by the way, to like right-wing terrorism or whatever. Hang on, what's this? I've been given a Vice article. Donald Trump accused of sexual assault. Well, yeah, I mean, he's been accused many times and is guilty. I've no doubt about that. He signed the affidavit. Signed the one of his first wife accused him of content warning for domestic abuse and sexual abuse here. Beating her senseless and then raping her on one occasion at least, and he didn't contest that series of events in court and paid the divorce bill and the alimony and all the rest of it. So yeah, he's basically admitted there that he beat and raped his first wife, the mother of his 2 sons, who his 2 sons seem to support him. Yeah. That's a thing. I hope they're very proud of themselves. Anyway. Yes, so. What was I doing? Yes, Carolyn Borosenko, right. She is a lying piece of trash. We talked about it before. She was the one who left the left. She was involved in being against SJW infiltration of the online knitting forums. Yeah, that's a thing. She went to a Trump rally and was so convinced, because they were really nice to her, that she completely changed, and now she's like a Trump mega stan. To the point where this is I think my favourite piece of like North Korea-esque dear leader bullshit you'll ever see. The title of this video from 1 day ago: Trump has developed antibodies to COVID. Could his new bionic blood be used to save the world? I'll repeat that. Trump has developed antibodies to COVID. Citation needed. Could his bionic blood be used to save the world? Imagine with me for a second, dear viewer, if you saw some bullshit like that coming out of North Korea, right? You know, you get these stories come out of North Korea and you're never sure if it's really true or not. About like, Kim Jong-un claims to have invented, I don't know, fucking slippers or something. Or, you know, Kim Jong-un can fire a gun at 3 miles distance and shoot an ant between the eyes. Just absolute bullshit. Obviously complete fucking nonsense. And imagine if that, I'll just change the title for you for a second, right? Kim Jong-un has developed antibodies to COVID. Could his new bionic Superman blood be used to save the world from capitalism or something, right? It's pathetic, isn't it? This is the level of fucking right-wing hackery we're dealing with here, okay? So it should be of literally no surprise that she produced a video called Proof that the Proud Boys are not an alt-right hate group. And not just that, but then deliciously, because she's so anti-identity politics, she rounds off that title with presented by a woman. Why is that fucking relevant to anything? Like, even for people who think identity politics is worthwhile, how is that relevant? How is you being a woman relevant to whether the Proud Boys are alt-right or not? It's really irrelevant, man. That's not a lived experience type deal, is it? Like, if you make a video called, like, a black person talks about racial oppression or something, that would make sense, because that's like a lived experience that they can bring something to the table with. Because as a black person growing up in like a Western country, they have experience of that, and they can add that to, you know, some more empirical stuff and, you know, statistics and things. Whereas you being a woman means nothing in this scenario, really, Carolyn. Sorry to have to burst your bubble there. And also it shows you to be an enormous hypocrite, because you claim to be against identity politics, but yet when you think it suits you, even when it doesn't suit you, you're happy to put out there like, oh, I'm a woman, so you have to listen to me about this completely unrelated thing. Intriguing. Shall we listen to this utter nonsense? Well, we're going to. So, I mean, I don't know why I've given you that option, like, you know, anything. I mean, you have the option to click away. That's obvious. That's standard operating procedure, of course. But, Trump does have antibodies. That's what the test looks for. Is it? Oh, I don't fucking know. Some versions look for antibodies. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, there's no way she fucking knows that anyway. And there's no way I'm going to trust a doctor who deals with Trump, because everything he touches, he's like a vortex of bullshit. Everything that goes near him gets corrupted. So I don't trust these doctors. I don't trust anyone to deal with that fucking that deals with him. So I have no idea. Anyway, yeah, fuck him and fuck his doctors. They've ruined the reputation of Walter Reed Hospital. They've been there for like 150 years. One of the most well-respected medical institutions in the world. Totally trashed it.
I really think that Donald Trump has broken the left. I think he's broken them. I think that they have finally snapped. They have finally lost their minds, and I'm planning a series of videos to illustrate that I think the left has finally lost it. And
well, considering that's all you've done for like the last year anyway, that's not new. You're not telling us anything that you haven't already said. You're just repeating your greatest hits. Sorry, greatest shits. You've literally, that's the entire shtick. Your entire thing was Trump derangement syndrome. The left is crazy. So you now acting as if now that's happened. Now Trump has broken the left. Could you be more dishonest with us, Caroline, please?
And we should probably bring back the loony bin at this point, because these people are nuts. The things they are saying are defying all logic and reason, and I'm going to prove it to you. And we're going to start in this video with the Proud Boys. Now,
okay. So you're just going to say they're crazy and provide nothing. Okay. So let's I don't know what I genuinely not entirely sure what she's going to say here. This could be anything. Let's have a look.
Listen, I've never thought one way or the other about the Proud Boys. I didn't really care. But of course, they've dominated the news in the last week since they were mentioned in the debate, and it's stupid. This is the stupidest thing in the history of stupid.
It is stupid. I mean, it's not as if you've made tons of videos about Antifa and how terrible that is, and domestic terrorism is the #1 issue and blah, blah, blah. But this is irrelevant. This is dumb. Why are people talking about a right-wing terrorist organisation? By the way, I'm not conceding that Antifa is a left-wing terrorist organisation. I'm just saying from their point of view, the Proud Boys have killed way more fucking people, have been involved in way more terrorist nonsense than what they consider to be Antifa, which is everyone from like Chairman Mao to Hillary Clinton or whatever.
And I'm going to prove it to you. Let's start with this.
She's going to prove it to us, not show us evidence. She's going to conclusively prove in a YouTube video.
Article that came out right after the debate. Proud Boys celebrate after Trump's debate call out. The Proud Boys, a far-right extremist group, pledged allegiance to President Donald.
You see, if you say far-right in a silly way, it means they're not far-right. It's really, the Nazis were far-right. Mussolini was far-right. You see, they're not far-right anymore. Oh, shit. I've just rewritten history. I'm like Dinesh D'Souza. Oh, hang on.
Donald Trump on Tuesday night after he told the group to stand back and stand by during the first presidential debate. Many people on social media...
Can you just read it normally, please? Can you... I mean, you don't have to read it in a silly way. In like a haughty, like, way. You don't have to. You can just read it like normally. We know that you don't agree with it, and you can tell us why you don't agree with it in between the bits, or read the whole thing out and tell us afterwards, whatever. But reading it like that is just sort of annoying.
Who identify with the group echoed that language, saying they were standing down and standing by. One known social media account for the group made "Stand Back, Stand By" part of its new logo. Oh no, not that, not a logo. Trump was asked by a debate.
Yeah, because you know logos mean something. You are aware of that. I mean, you are literally wearing the cap of a baseball team, and that's the logo. That shows me that you, in some way, have an affiliation to that baseball team. That's what that means, isn't it? Now, it doesn't necessarily, you can't read too much into it, because you might just like the aesthetic of that team or whatever. But it shows me something there. It does symbolise a thing. So the Proud Boys having Donald Trump's words as part of a new symbol shows that they are in support of the thing he said. Which you know. So you just going, oh no, a new logo, as if that's meaningless, is really dishonest. Phenomenally dishonest.
Debate moderator Chris Wallace to disavow white supremacy during a part of the debate focused on race. Wallace asked whether Trump would urge white supremacist groups that inflamed violence at nationwide protests to stand down. Trump said to give me a name. By the way, Trump said before he said give me a name, he said, sure, I'll denounce white supremacy.
Right, but they were talking about specific groups, weren't they? And he failed to do so. He failed to have a go at, or to denounce.
That's neither here nor there, of course.
He failed to denounce the Proud Boys, but whatever.
They don't talk about that. Let's keep...
Yeah, because he didn't do it.
keep going. Trump said to give me a name when asked to denounce a specific group, and former Vice President Joe Biden called out the Proud Boys. Trump did not denounce any far-right or white supremacist groups, and then he pivoted to talk about Antifa. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. And I'll tell you what, someone's going to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a white ring.
Is this how she reads? Because she's even reading Trump's words like this. Maybe I gave her too much credit. I thought she was just doing... she just reads weird. She reads aloud weirdly.
Problem. This is a left-wing problem, Trump said. And of course, after that, there was mass tons of news about this alt-right white supremacist group, the Proud Boys, that most people had never even heard of or had only heard of in passing and didn't really know what it was.
Oh, well, that's okay then. It's okay if you have a terrorist group, as long as people don't know much about it. That's fine.
Dude, I was at Harry's in DC this past weekend after the walkaway rally. I met a boat ton of Proud Boys. And you know what? One of them took me aside. He's like, you know what? We're not white supremacists. We're not white supremacists like the media said. And I said, I know you're not white supremacists. You're a group of...
Wow. So you already had your preconceived idea in your head. Okay, good. Also, just because you met some that said they weren't white supremacists, I've literally seen them zig heiling and stuff. They were set up by Gavin McInnes, who has been phenomenally racist. Literally, I mean, they could describe themselves as Western chauvinists. What do you think that means, Carolyn?
Men who hang out with other men. You do men things like drink beer and whiskey and water.
And anal sex. That's a man thing. That's definitely a man thing. I've seen videos. Well, people have told me about them. I haven't seen them. I don't even look for them. They just appear. It's not gay. It's not gay to wank to gay porn. It's fine. That's the excuse I'll use on Judgment Day anyway.
Watch sports and beat each other up, and sometimes you get into trouble, and you guys...
And whoa, time out. And beat each other up. You're kind of skipping past that, because weren't you against political violence before? Weren't you against violence in the past when talking about Antifa? Like, you were really... I remember one video you got really upset that they smashed a window. So the fact that you've just gone, oh, they beat each other up, and... Never mind, blah, blah, blah. The fuck, man? This is nonsense. Yeah, I mean, you really are such a fucking hack.
I think go purposely looking for trouble, but you're not flipping white supremacists.
They do purposely go looking for trouble. Many of them have been convicted of it. They literally have, Caroline. That's just true. They specifically go to events to enact violence.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And here is the reason why this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. The leader of the Proud Boys is not white. He is...
He's the leader of the Proud Boys. Do they have such a thing? Also, that's you. That's literally just you. You're showing me you saying he's the leader. Let's have a look. Let's look this guy up. Enrico Tarrio. Or Enrique, whatever. Who is Enrique Tarrio? Here he is. Enrique Tarrio is the chairman of the far-right neo-fascist organisation Proud Boys. In 2020, he's a candidate, blah, blah, 27th district. He withdrew after only raising $1,971. Tarrio is the state director of grassroots organisation Latinos for Trump. Okay. He's Afro-Cuban. 2004, he was 20 years old. Tarrio was convicted of theft, sentenced to 3 years probation, community service, sentenced to 30 months, of which he spent 16 in a federal prison for rebranding and reselling stolen medical devices. That's a really weird crime. Okay. What are we looking for? Political views. He denounces white supremacy. Okay, good. Twitter removed Tarrio's account platform including violent extremism. Evaded this suspension was detected. The close friend of Roger Stone, who was a white supremacist, tweeted out Roger Stone did nothing wrong. Okay. Anti-immigration. Ugh, okay. But he doesn't say he's the leader, does it? Does it? It became a 4th degree member of the Proud Boys, a distinction reserved for those who get into a physical altercation after being punched in the face. He assumed the role of chairman of the organisation, succeeding Lee Van Dyke, who held the position for 2 days, and Van Dyke's predecessor, Gavin McInnes. So he's the chairman. What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway. But also, yeah, have you heard of a thing called lying, Carolyn? Have you heard of a thing called tokenism? Because, yeah, they put a black guy there, but they also attack black people all the time, consistently. They are white supremacists. Okay, the fact that they've got a black dude is like optics. Are you aware of optics as a thing, Carolyn? If their leader is not white, they're probably not white supremacists, or they're just slightly smarter than you, which isn't difficult, I will admit, but is nonetheless true. Yeah. She is a Nazi hack, yeah, there's no doubt about that.
He's not white. His name is Enrique Tarrio. He is not white. He's
also, take your identity politics and fuck off. You said identity politics was cultural Marxism, so why are you engaging in it, Carolyn? You're not a massive hypocrite, are you, by any chance? I mean, that would be terrible. I wouldn't accuse you of that. Actually, yes, I would. That's literally what I'm doing, but yeah.
It's like what, like Afro-Cuban or some such shit? Like, this is the dumbest...
He is Afro-Cuban. That is correct. I remember that from the Wikipedia.
...thing I've ever heard. If the leader of the group is not white, then how could it possibly be a white supremacist organization?
They're lying. They're playing optics. They're pushing the black guy out front and saying, look, we're not racist, whilst attacking black people. He's allowing himself to be used because he's also a far-right piece of shit. Even though he must know if they ever got into power, he'd be in the camps with us.
And then the other thing happened this past week when Forbes and all these other places published this article. The Proud Boys are furious that gay men have taken over the Proud Boys hashtag on Twitter.
See, again, if you say it in a silly voice, it negates the truth of the thing. Because the thing is, Carolyn, and I don't know if this happened after you filmed this, but the Proud Boys have decided to try and change their name now to the Leathermen or something. So clearly they were bothered by it.
Oh no, a hashtag, as though a group of like tough guy masculine men are going to be afraid of a flipping hashtag on Twitter. When
they were to the point where they actually, like, certainly some of them, I don't know if it's going to catch on, but some of them try to change their name now. They don't want to be known as Proud Boys anymore because that's a bit gay now. Like, I don't even know where to begin. She's just... Yeah, exactly. Leathermen doesn't help, does it? Because people were just posting, like, pictures of, ironically, not very fat bears, considering what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just, yeah, assless chaps. Little leather thingamajig. You know, whips. Things like that. Not that obviously you have to sexualise gay men or anything, but, you know, I mean, look, literally the picture she's got, the guy's in leather and he's got leather on. Like, there's some leather gay stuff going down, and all power to them. So if you change yours to the leather men, like, I mean, what next? The Santorum men, maybe? Santorum didn't like the gays, so they can't be gay. Oh, he's scratching to get in. Dickhead. Cats, if you walk past the camera, you get put on the camera, okay?
My baby cats.
Say hello to people on the camera. It's a soft bed there, so like I didn't just throw him like, onto the floor. He's fine. Anyway. Yes.
Most of them are banned on Twitter anyway. Two very different groups of men are at war on the internet today. The far-right cadre known as the Proud Boys and thousands of gay Twitter users who flooded the platform with pro-LGBT images, marking these posts with hashtag Proud Boys. And you think this is going to piss the Proud Boys off? Dude, you have lost your damn mind. This is a photo that Tim Tool posted on Twitter today of Gavin McGee.
See, this other right-wing hack said a thing as well. So clearly that means it's fine. Yes, we know Gavin McInnes is a little bit weird. Do you think most of the Proud Boys would be happy putting a fucking butt plug up their arse on camera? Because Gavin McInnes also did that.
Is the guy who founded the Proud Boys making out with Milo Yiannopoulos.
Do you want to also put up the clips of Gavin McInnes saying the N-word and describing black people as degenerate? Talking about how Jews run things and all of that? Do you want to put that up as examples of them being far right, Carolyn? You hack? Fuck you.
They do not care. They do not care. Here's what I know about the Proud Boys, and granted, it's not a whole heck of a lot, but...
I'm just going to stop you there. When making an argument that goes in the face of what's generally held to be true, and if you could make more noise, Rory Cats, that would be super awesome, mate. Thank you. When making an argument that runs in the face of popularly held belief, based on, basic observable reality, and you say you're going to conclusively prove that that belief is wrong, what you shouldn't then go on to say is that what I know about the group that I'm talking about is not a lot. Because that suggests to me you haven't done the requisite research to be able to make such prognostications. Just saying. What the fuck are you doing? This cat is a knob. You don't have to scratch the cone on everything. You don't have to. Dickhead.
And this is why. This is why I think that people are goddamn morons. I'm sure this video is already going to get demonetized because YouTube is going to say, you are being too incendiary. No, this is stupid. I know this much about the Proud Boys, and here's what I know. There are two rules to joining this flipping group. One, you have to be a man, and two, you have to believe that Western values are the best, and you have to be unapologetic about it. And those are the only two rules.
So? Well, that means that you can't have white supremacists involved in that? What? What does that even mean?
For joining the Proud Boys. You can be black and join the Proud Boys. You can be Hispanic and join the Proud Boys. You can be a goddamn Afro-Cuban and lead the Proud Boys.
Yeah, and? So what? The Nazis let one Jewish guy into the 1936 Olympic team to prove they weren't racist. That literally happened. They chose like the worst Jewish guy they could find, so you would definitely lose, to try and back up the whole thing. But then Jesse Owens kind of disproved the racial theory thing. Anyway, but the point is, racist groups will try and pretend to be not racist, so as to not piss off people who think racism is bad.
You can be gay and join the Proud Boys. They do not care. And they say they don't care on their flipping...
Well, if they say it themselves, it must be true. I don't know of any group in history, be they a racist group, a terrorist group, whatever, that's ever lied about anything. It's never happened. So Carolyn clearly is correct here. This video is so packed with bullshit, it's fucking mental. It's not as deranged as Trump's nonsense, but it's up there.
Website, as though anyone can take the time to read anymore. This is on the Proud Boys website. Proud Boys, who are...
There now follows an announcement from the London Mint Office in partnership with Imperial War Museums. Britain's...
Oh, God.
Today.
I don't need to hear more about Winston Churchill today. I just don't.
The Proud Boys are a men's organization founded in 2016 by Vice co-founder Gavin McGuinness. McGuinness described the Proud Boys as a pro-Western fraternal organization for men who refuse to apologize for creating the modern world, aka male chauvinists. Dude.
No, he doesn't say male. It says Western chauvinists. They are also male chauvinists, but I mean, if you could like read, that would be super awesome, Carolyn. If you could actually read the thing that's on the fucking screen that you're showing us, it says Western chauvinists. And she's going to say it's anti-racism. I don't really care. Like, you can go onto the website of Nazi fucking political chat. Is he on the bed? Can you see? He's on the bed there. Ricketts, your ass is on the screen, mate. Ricketts. There you go, you get a profile shot of his flank. He's making biscuits on the bed. Are you playing statue now? What are you doing? What are you doing? He's doing stuff. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, you can go onto the website of like fucking Nazi political parties and stuff, and they'll say that we're against racism, we're against sexism, blah blah blah. And they're not. You know they're not. They lie. That is what they do. What on earth are you doing? He's not lying down, but he's not really standing up either. He's just being a knob. He's not the Messiah, he's just a twat. Anyway, you can see a bit of a hump of a cat there. There you go, I'll leave it there.
They have a club. This is a club for men. This is like back in the day.
It's a club for racist men. Yes, that is true, Carol. I'm gonna have to kind of count. Oh, I can't be bothered. The cat's there. Hang on, no, I need to go that way, don't I? There we go. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Don't know if you worked that out over the years.
You guys remember the movie Gangs of New York? I think it was like also a book. This is like the Bowery Boys back in the day.
Do you really want to compare them to illegally formed groups of men beating the shit out of each other in the streets? Because I mean that is what they are, but I don't think that suits your argument very well, Carolyn.
This is a club of men who hang out and do guy things.
Like zig heil in the streets and beat people up who they disagree with. Sort of like terrorists.
Boys values center on the following tenets: minimal government, maximum freedom, anti-political correctness, anti-drug war, closed borders, anti-racial guilt. They don't think you should feel guilty for being white.
Which is totally not a dog whistle that Nazis use. So they can't be far right or an alt-right group. That's totally not a thing that Nazis say. Has he moved again? He has. Oh well. He's now lying down, so you can't see him anymore. Anyway. Yeah, that's the not being guilty for being white thing. Like the what's the phrase they use? It's okay to be white, all that sort of stuff. These are Nazi dog whistles, Carolyn. Which I'm sure you know, but you don't care. You're just a hack.
Anti-racism. They are not in favor of racism.
Well, that's okay then. It's not as if any racists have ever lied. Good stuff.
Pro free speech.
Yeah, pro free speech. Again, it's not as if any racists have said that they were free speech, and played on that. Hang on, Hitler. Ooh, hang on. Silencing Hitler poster. Yeah, it's not as if any Nazi groups have sort of played on the idea of free speech and how they're being silenced and all the rest of it in order to then gain power and then, And then maybe take away everyone else's freedom of speech because they never really give a fuck about it. It's literally just they're lying. They're lying. Carolyn, they're fucking lying.
Pro-gun rights, glorifying the entrepreneur, venerating the housewife, reinstating a spirit of Western chauvinism. And
which is like white supremacy to them. Again, these are things called dog whistles, Carolyn. They're not very subtle dog whistles either. They're very, very whistly.
you might say, Carlin, well, they're obviously misogynist. They want to venerate the housewife. You know what? Listen, I'm going to say this. And I'm going to say this fully knowing that I am not the most feminine woman in the world. But am I married to a goddamn soy boy? No. I am.
You know how I said earlier that the right like to run memes into the ground? The soy boy thing needs to like go away to 2015 again. Really? Am I married to a soy boy? What do you even say to that?
Married to a freaking strong Ukrainian man for a reason.
Ukrainian? Does that count as miscegenation? I don't know.
Women like strong men. And
well, no, some women like strong men. Some women like femboys and stuff. Like, there are all sorts of women in the world who are into all sorts of things. Just like there are all men who are into all sorts of things. And some women don't like men at all. They prefer a nice bit of clam. And all power to them.
I'm sorry, I would take a member of the Proud Boys every single day over a soy boy from the left. I do.
Yes, you'd rather fuck a fascist. We know, Carolyn. You've really, ironically, rammed that point home. That's absolutely fine. We understand. It's not absolutely fine in a moral sense, but it's absolutely fine from the perspective of we understand that. We know you're a fascist and you want to fuck fascists. Okay.
Not care. It's so stupid. I want the man to be in charge of in the relationship, and most women would say the goddamn same.
Really, would they? And that's based on what exactly? The fact that you and people you know who are like you would agree with you. Okay, but there are lots of women who wouldn't say that. Clearly, there are lots of women who don't say that. Like, it's... Again, why try and always boiling people down to, like, there's one type of woman, she likes manly dick, and that is it. She likes big, butch, manly dick, and that is all. As if there aren't 1,000,001 types of people in the world who like lots of different things. Maybe they like a bit of butch and a bit of femme. Maybe they like a bit of dick and a bit of pussy. You know, there's lots of things going on there. Why'd you have to boil it down? And in terms of venerating the housewife, I mean, as long as that doesn't come at the cost of venerating, or well, venerating is the problem. But if you want to accept that the housewife is a thing and all of that, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. There are lots of great housewives. If you're happy doing that, you be you. But the point is that when they say venerating the housewife, they don't mean literally, we like this, but you can do what you want. They mean literally, if they get the chance, you are going to be barefoot and pregnant making sandwiches. You're going to be making sandwiches and babies. That is all. And you know that. And maybe that's for you. Maybe you want to do that, but a lot of people don't want to do that.
Thing. If they're being honest, which most women are not inclined to do. These are essential tenets, all that is required to become a member of Proud Boys. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, I'm on a rant right here. Surrey's going off in the background on my phone. Whatever. Hang on. We're going to start this paragraph again. Though these are our essential tenets, all that is required to become a Proud Boy is that a man declare he is a Western chauvinist who refuses to apologize for creating the modern world.
Well, that would be interesting if any of these fuckers had created the modern world, which they have not. That's like stolen valor, but for civilizational creation. They didn't do that at all. Not only did they not personally, literally do that, it's one of the things that annoys me. You have conversations with people in Britain about how we won the war, and I have to say to them, I personally don't remember storming the beaches on Normandy on D-Day. And I don't think you were there either. And they get annoyed because you point out the obvious to them, that they personally didn't do anything. Now, that doesn't mean that as a nation we can't look back at that part of our history and be proud of that, because I think that was a good thing we did. albeit there's nuance to everything, of course, the Bengal famine and all of that. But generally, defeating fascism, or aiding in the defeat of fascism, let us not forget the Soviets had way more people killed. That was a good thing, right? But we didn't do it personally, okay? And also, when they say we created Western civilization, or the greatest civilization ever in all of the modern world, you're standing on the shoulders of giants. Mathematics comes from Arabia, modern mathematics that is, comes from Arabia. China invented much by way of like gunpowder and things like that. African slaves built much of America. The idea that white people built the modern world is fucking ludicrous. And apologies, I'm sure I've forgotten many other civilizational additions to the milieu of the modern world, but those are just the examples that came to my head. The idea that the West created the modern world is somewhat farcical, especially when you consider that a lot of the people who push that shit are white nationalists who wouldn't accept like Greeks as white people, but yet it was Greeks who like invented philosophy and democracy and things like that. Anyway, actually they wouldn't accept that many Romans were white either, because many of them weren't. But there we go. Whatever.
We do not discriminate based on race or sexual orientation or preference. We are not an ismist or phobic that fits the left's narrative. We truly believe that the West...
Hang on, we're not an ism. Can I just point out, reinstating a spirit of Western chauvinism. Chauvin-ism. Chauvin-ism. We are not an ism. We are not an ism. Ism. The fuck? How can you read this nonsense and, like, not understand any of it?
...is the best, and welcome those who believe in the same tenets. We have an international reach with members spanning the globe. And here, I'll even go one step further. They have this little freaking FAQ for all these people who say that the Proud Boys are an alt-right organization. Word on the street.
So if you just say it in a silly voice, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Is that alt-right wants to start infiltrating our meetings in an effort to recruit new members and or sabotage us. Apparently something went down and okay, blah, blah, blah. Here's...
Apparently, blah, blah, blah. Hello? Hello? Am I back? It's... Hello? Hello? Oh, you do hear me now? Okay, good. Apologies. I blame Lawrence Fox too. Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I clicked on the wrong thing. Someone said they'd sent me some thingamajigs on Twitter. Oh, there we go. Hang on, I'll get these up on the screen. 1 second. There we go. So Zoshalik sent me these. I was surprised how funny he was. So this is the Hitler thing, because she went to a Trump rally, so someone obviously adapted that. And I swear I only just wanted to knit and queue. Okay. When I clicked on Twitter, for some reason it silenced me. I was silenced by Twitter. Can you believe it? Oh, I shouldn't have left my fucking heating on as well. I'm sweating bollocks, man. Anyway. Should we get through this? Because, yeah, anyway.
That's where I want to get to right here. This question. How do I know if a member is alt-right? There are two big differences we have with them is the JQ and racial identity politics. They think that Jews are responsible for Americans' problems, and they think that Western is inseparable from white. This is the Proud Boys talking about people who are actually on the alt-right right now.
No, they're lying. Gavin McInnes has consistently engaged in JQ nonsense. Consistently. So, yeah. I mean, the fact that he supports Israel is not because he supports Jewish people. It's because it supports the genocide of brown people that Israel is engaged in.
Now, they don't see a future for non-whites in America. F that. We reject those things. Like, how much more, blunt could they be? They're saying flat out, we reject the things the alt-right believes.
But do you accept, Carolyn, that people don't always tell the truth? I could say, I am 23 feet tall. Doesn't make it true. I'm actually 23.5 feet tall, as you well know. You can say anything. You can literally say anything. And so what? It's your actions that mean something?
We openly encourage Jewish and non-white members and want them to know they're at home with us. Black and Jewish conservatives have to put up with a lot of F, and the last thing we
have to put up with a lot of ass. What's wrong with that?
We want is for them to feel uncomfortable when hanging out with their drinking buddies.
Wow, if they say it themselves, that must be true. Like when Hitler said he wasn't going to invade Czechoslovakia. He had Chamberlain had a piece of paper and everything. Peace in our time. I'm glad that happened and not the most destructive war that humankind had ever known. Yeah, awesome.
We was in and out of temporary accommodation. We'd never been separated before.
This is a men's club. That's all it is. It is a flipping men's club.
That engages in domestic terrorism, acts of racism, beating up of journalists. Things like that, you know.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And this is the thing. This is the thing. I was thinking about this earlier. Real white supremacists, real Nazis, they're not ashamed.
But, Carolyn, time out. Nazi and white supremacist are not synonymous. You can be a white supremacist without being a Nazi. You understand? You can't really be a Nazi without being a white supremacist. That is true. But they're not synonymous things. You can be just a plain old white supremacist and not believe that, I don't know, you need Lebensraum or whatever. There are other tenets that make a person a Nazi. So it's just a little bit silly. And also, this article was written in 2017, 3 years ago. Gavin McInnes isn't even involved with that organisation anymore. So the fact that you're now saying that this means they are not currently a thing is irrelevant. Literally irrelevant. They're not the same organisation as they were. I mean, I would argue they were alt-right then, and they are now. But this article doesn't really prove one way or the other anything about what they are now.
To say it, they live it loud and flippin' proud. The Proud Boys are doing their thing. They have a little club. They do men's things. That should be a...
They just do men's things, like terrorism.
Loud. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Listen, women talk about all the time. There's this big debate over women's spaces and who should be allowed in women's spaces. Should trans women be allowed in women? I don't care.
You do care. You've made it very plainly obvious you do care. You're a transphobic piece of garbage. You've made that very plain to everyone who's listened, okay? But regardless of that, no one is saying you can't have a boys' club. If you want to meet up and have drinks with your friends, even if you want to do the weird punchy thing while naming cereals, it's a bit weird, but ultimately it's not really going to hurt people. That's not the end of the world. It might technically break Law and Order or whatever. But like, no, the police aren't going to bother with that. Who gives a shit? If you want to do that, that's fine. I know loads of people who essentially engage in that activity. Not necessarily the punching and the serial naming thing, but engage in like blokey pub culture stuff, right? That's fine. Perfectly legal, perfectly moral as far as I'm concerned. There are ways in which it can become immoral, but generally speaking, if we just leave it broad at that, that's fine. That's not what the Proud Boys do. They attack people. They engage in all manner of things. Okay, this was produced before the Gresham Whitmer attempted abduction case was foiled and announced and all the rest of it. But some of the people involved in that had affiliations to the Proud Boys. Whether they were like had officially joined the thing or whatever and done the ceremonies and all that shit, I'm not sure. But they certainly had Proud Boy iconography on their social media pages. This is a terrorist organisation. This is an alt-right hate group. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's precisely what this is, Carolyn.
I don't care. If women are allowed to have spaces, then men should be allowed to have spaces too.
Literally not remotely relevant. It's true, but it's not relevant. Because that's not what people have a concern with the Proud Boys. It's not the maleness, it's the violence and the racism.
Frankly, I don't know, man. I might even look up to see if there's like a local chapter that I can send my husband to so he can go have guy time. Because...
Right. Okay. It doesn't sound like you're in a very happy place then, does it? No offence, I don't know your relationship, but if you're looking for a local chapter to send your husband to, that suggests you don't spend much time together that you enjoy.
This is okay. This should be okay. Of all the things that we should be arguing about is like whether or not men should be men. Whatever, man. The left is damn near insane.
What's this got to do with anything? The left? What? You know, I mean, okay, he did eventually, like 2 days later, come out and denounce the Proud Boys. So is Donald Trump on the left now? I mean, I don't believe his denunciation, by the way, for a second, but he did literally say the words, "I denounce the Proud Boys," on that Fox News thing. A couple of days after the debate, just before he got hospitalised. So he might have been off his tits on whatever drugs or whatever at the time, who knows. But he did say the words, and the Proud Boys and affiliated groups were fucking outraged. They really, really went hard. They were so pissed off with that. They were like, oh, he's a cock, he's cocked to the blah, blah, blah. So is Donald Trump a part of the left now, Carolyn? Because, I mean, you can have him back. We don't want him. Fucking hell.
This is one of the reasons.
See, when you lie as badly as Carolyn does, it leads to some strange places. It involves a lot of mental gymnastics on her part.
Reasons why I left it. Thank God I have this avenue on YouTube to be able to rant about this nonsense and at least get some commiseration, because this is so stupid. When you're saying that a group that literally has an Afro-Cuban leader, the man is not white, is a white supremacist group, what do you think? Like, you're freaking nuts.
Okay, take your identity politics elsewhere, Carolyn. Yeah, and your weird Afro-Cuban token boy. I don't give a fuck.
That's all I have. Whatever.
Whatever indeed. Well, that was quite something, was it not? Quite something. By which I mean she was talking shit, and we should call that out and expose the nonsense, because that was, I mean, she's a fucking joke. She's a farce. And we will be returning to that nonsense at some point, I'm sure, because, you know, why not? Anyway, yeah. How are we all? Are we well in the chat? Quick updatey-roo that I probably should have done at the start. Yeah. Tomorrow evening, 7 PM UK time, 2 PM on the east coast of Americana land, 6 AM in Fiji. Christy and I'll be hosting, so it'll be on my YouTube and my Twitch. We'll be doing a review of International Gorillas. That's gorillas as in gorillas, so like Guerrillas. which is an amazing film. You definitely want to come to that one because that is amazing. A film so bizarre and weird you won't believe it. It's a piece of Islamist propaganda from the late 80s / possibly early 90s, which the final scene of which involves Jesus of Nazareth, whose name is Jason in the film, and his slutty sister converting to Islam before flying Korans set Salman Rushdie on fire. That is one hell of a final scene. So you definitely want to join us for that because it's fucking mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But like I say, 7 p.m. tomorrow night, 2 p.m. on the east coast of Americana land. And you can work out your own coordinates from there. Thank you to Lord Fritius for the gifted sub. Thank you very much. That was the I want to say German, but apologies. Anyway. Oh, was that anonymous? Oh, sorry. Oh, shit, yeah, it says anonymous gifter. Oh, sorry, someone gifted it to Lord Fritz. Oh, I don't know how that works. Apologies. Anyway, yeah, I got talking to them on the Twitch thing with on the surfs ages ago now. But anyway, yeah. So, but thank you to whoever that was then. I don't fucking know. Anyway, I'm gonna piss off now. MPs to get a 3.3k pay rise. That doesn't surprise me. They're fucking garbage. French. Sorry. Apologies. You are very French, yes. I knew you were foreign. And I guessed. And you do share a border with Germany, so it was close enough, I think. I think you give... Yeah, I'll get half a point for that, I think. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. I'm going to fuck off now. But on the Twitch, I'm going to raid you into Izzy Bear, who is pretty badass. So you're going to go over there in a second. And to everyone, though cowards flinch and traitors sneer, we will keep the red flag flying here. No pass around.